We back at it. Every time I say I'm gonna put the phone down and not make a video, I'm back like a crack addict. I'm kidding. We're here. We're live. We're feeling good. We're feeling inspired to put out another video. And something that I've been thinking about is communication and just clear communication, because something I was just talking about with my homie. When you beat around the bush, you're giving them, it's funny thing about that phrase is when you beat around the bush, when you live in a world full of lies and you're not living in reality, well, guess what? That other person's going to stay in the bush. You gave him the bush to hide in. It's not until you do clear, cut communication, cut through the fat, go straight through the bush, they cannot hide. Then they have to comment on what you're talking about. For example, I'll just say an example of my friend. He was saying, he doesn't have a close relationship with his family and doesn't really want to go, around anymore. And he just told his mom, I'm not doing that no more. But before, it was like years ago, he'd be like, I don't really want to do this. Do we have to, you kind of like, you're beating around the bush. Do we really need to go? Well, they're thinking you saying, is there, when they're living in that reality of vain, it's that deep. Vanity, they just need to show up to show face, right? It's to act like they care, and it's one thing, for me, did you ever have your mom or your my mom will be like, hey, don't forget to call XX for the birthday, or you have friends, or hey, make sure you say for their, I gotta sneeze. If you don't say it or remember it, you don't care. So we should just say, hey, remember to care today, because you weren't going to care on your own if I didn't remind you. And if somebody needs you to remind you to care, that means you just don't care. But when you live in that vanity, that fake reality of which that generation does, and a lot of us are starting to buy into it, which is, you need to do this and call this person and show up to this event, even if it's once a year, even if you only see him once a year, just to show that you care. You know what I mean? It's all a fake reality. But when, like I said, he said, I'm not showing up, I'm not doing it no more. If they want to communicate to me, they can. Then they cut the bush out. The parents are like, what the? Oh, so you don't really like our family? Now the message is through. The message is through now. But when you hid behind the bush, they don't get the message that you don't like the family. The message before is like, they just don't want to go today. They don't feel like it today. No. When you say, no, I just don't want to at all, the message is very clear. And what I'm trying to say is, like, that generation, they live in that bubble of vanity, like, I got to show up for this and make amends and just for all insecure reasons. They don't really apologize or say sorry or do anything out of they really want to. It's more like make themselves look good. We all have bubbles. I was just saying, our generation's bubble is that, like, stoner, conspiracy, maybe a little vegan, anti-government, liberal a little bit, maybe even a little Republican, but like anti-government, conspiracy, weed, person is like our bubble. But then it slowly morphs into our parents, because then they also want to show face for their parents. And then it eventually morphs into the same reality. It's like an offshoot of a different reality, but then what happens is when you live in the present and you deny all of that, you're like, I can't stand these people. I can't stand these people. They all need to shut up, because you live in reality. But when you see people living in a dreamlike state, it's just like when that, you remember in high school or whatever, or when that one person used to get drunk and just go crazy. They're not living in reality, because then they ask you the next day, like, what was I doing? Was I crazy? They don't even remember. That's a reality, though. They lived the reality. They weren't present for it. That's exactly what we're living right now. A lot of people aren't present for their own realities. So they live in some dreamlike state this whole life. Then they try to wake up again. But sometimes you might get deeper into the dream the next life, which is what I talk about. And that's how you lose, you know? So just tell somebody, hey, show up to care. Hey, you want to call to remember to care today? You know, things like that, you know. It's just a short video. Nothing crazy. Easily digestible because I'm on my shit. A little funny tidbit. I had a student clean up my little beard, you know what I mean? Came in. My school's a zoo, man. I say, yo, come trim my beard up. He's like, yeah, I'm going to skip my class anyway. I'm like, bro, who cares? All right. Funny little story for you guys. Yeah, just clear-cut communication. And when you clear-cut communication, it just forces the person to be honest and present with whatever you said. A quick summary for the video. Love you guys. Later.